Hello, my friends. How are y'all doing? I hope everybody's good. Thank y'all for being here. Smiley, Cornbread, and Miss Millie, Sin, One Love, Aurora. Who else? Did I miss anybody? Miss Kathy, thank you for being here. Appreciate y'all so much. Y'all mean the world to me. Okay, and M Spec, Speak, however we're supposed to pronounce it. Thank you. Thank you all. I hope everybody's had a good weekend, a good week. It's been a little crazy in my world just getting over all the rodeo fanatics. So I think we're about to get to where we're smooth sailing through the summer. Nobody wants to have big events during the summer. So we luck out and get a lot of downtime. So, yay, yay. Well, I do appreciate y'all being here. The last time we talked, I said, what do y'all want to talk about next? Who do y'all want to talk about? We got lots of things kind of thrown out there a little bit. So I started going back over everything I had. I've got notes here and there. I got a notebook full. I've got legal pads full. I hear something, I write it down. And I just went over everything. Hey, Titans. Glad you're here. But there was a lot of little things that didn't really fit into a certain category or a person that we've talked about. And I thought, you know what? We're just going to talk about all the odds and ends because there's little things that just have been said over the past 2.5 years. And things that need to be mentioned, things that need to be brought back up. So I thought, let's do this. See if we can cover pretty much everything. And guys, we just got to keep putting our name out there. That's all we can do. But, I think there's a lot we can still talk about, but there's nothing new. And it just breaks my heart because I look at little Sebastian's case going on right now, and he just vanished. He was home with his mother, and he just vanished. And there's no trace, just like little Summer. And I don't want his case to get almost 3 years out and we're still trying to figure out what the heck happened, because it's pretty obvious to a lot of us that something did happen with Sebastian for sure. And I know we're going to talk about Summer, but I'm going to get this part off my chest because I listened to the live where they've got Sebastian on there. He's talking to the PIs. And that was the most disrespectful, disgusting thing I've ever had to listen to. And I hurt for Sebastian. My heart hurts for that child, because if that's what he had to live with, hell, I would run away too. Because no way, first of all, would I sit there and coddle Mr. Chris. No way. And, I really, that's what they were trying to do, is just to keep everything calm. But when you have someone as belligerent as what he was, talking to women the way he was talking to, my daddy raised me, and no one was to ever talk to me the way that man talked to people. Yeah, 5 wives. No wonder. And I'm sure Mr. Chris is not listening to my video, but if he ever does, I would just put out the challenge to him. You want hard questions? Come and talk to me. I got hard questions. We won't piddle around with those little things that doesn't matter to you. We'll get straight to it real quick, because I'm not going to put up with your shit. And with that being said, keep Sebastian out there, guys. Keep his face out there. Talk about him. Let's pray that possibly that was him, and that was a real picture, and he was sighted, and someone did get a picture and send it in. Let's pray. Pray for good. Pray for hope. And pray for that baby, that he never has to go back to that house again. Hey, everybody that's coming in, thank y'all for being here. So now that that's off my little heart, because that was so disturbing, it has just been bothering me so much. And I couldn't believe it. Could not believe it. But let's talk a little bit about summer and those odds and ends pieces that get brought up, talked about for just a tiny bit, and then kind of get put on the wayside because there might not have been a connection at the time. So I don't know if a lot of y'all remember, but at the very beginning, they talk about this guy on a motorcycle coming by. And guys, he had a GoPro on his helmet. A GoPro that could possibly have been recording about the time they think Summer got gone. So where's that at? Who was that? Why have we not heard about this anymore? 2.5 years later, and we still have questions about this? Did they not even try to find that person? I mean, that's huge. That was big. And if they were riding a motorcycle with a GoPro, I mean, it couldn't be that hard to find, I wouldn't think. Surely somebody knew somebody that was in that area on a motorcycle. But I forgot. We're talking about that area. The one that doesn't talk. The one that's not going to talk. So, yeah, I want to know about the motorcycle. I want to know about the GoPro. I want to know if law enforcement ever did anything about it. Because that's big. It could be very big. I got asked to do some digging into Andy Paul. And I did. I tried. There's not a whole lot out there. I mean, we could have went over his arrest records and stuff. I was told he was an RSO, but I can't confirm it. I couldn't find that. I was told he did live in the Wells shed, but then again, I heard he was the one in the camper by the shed. So we know he lived down at the bottom of the property. Just not sure if it was the shed or in a camper. But this was all around 2018 when he was there. So this was before Summer went missing. She was just a little one. Fred told us in his interview with Ziggy a while back that, you know, he watched Andy Paul crush a pill and took whatever the pill was and gave some to his stepdaughter, to Laura's daughter that was with Fred there. Fred found out he was giving her pills and pot and liquor, and they got into a big fight over that. Andy Paul, which anyways, let me tell you this real quick, and then Kathy, I'll get with you on that. He up and just left, is everything I've been told. Everything I can find, he just up and left not long after him and Fred got into it. So he knew he had done wrong. I guess he didn't want to get in trouble, and he just jetted off. But from what I can find, and the closest that I can get to trying to find anything about him, was that he was about 55 to 60 years old. He lived in Duffield, Virginia, and his possible name is Andy Paul Goodson. Now, I apologize if Andy Paul Goodson is out there and it's not the Andy Paul we're talking about, but that's the only one that I could come up with that would have connections to the area, to 110, that I could find. So that's all I could find on him. I couldn't do a whole live on it because we'd already be through. So that's all I could get on Andy Paul. But A.P. Goodson seemed to be always coming up when I was looking for him. So that's a possibility. But from what I'm hearing, he's not been back to the area since. So I don't think he would hold a grudge for all those years and then just come back and take summer. So I don't know. I mean, always a possibility, but I don't really see that happening. Another name that just popped up, from time to time, was this Crystal Spencer. So let's talk about it. Crystal Spencer, she was the one that Don slept with on his couch in the living room while Candace was there in the house. So if you ever hear her name, you'll know that's who she is. And let's see, the day summer got gone, we know that the temperature that day was 81 degrees high and a 63-degree low for the day. And it was mostly sunny. So it's more than you had, Kathy. Like I say, I can't be 100%, but that is what I kept getting back to every time. So it's possible. So the day summer went missing was a beautiful, picture perfect day. Not too hot, not too cold, not too cloudy, not too sunny. A picture perfect day. A woman, okay, I'm going to give y'all some information here, and we're going to have a little class time, little education. I found out that a woman who gives her body freely for meth is called a chicken head. And I have seen several times where there happened to be a gang close to the area called the Chicken Head Gang. I don't know if this is women or men, but interesting. So, ladies, we don't want to be a chicken head, okay? Okay, so guys, listen to this part. Daniel Hayes. Let's talk about him. Daniel Hayes was little Journey, Summer's little friend, Marlena Crawford's daughter. Daniel Hayes was her daddy, okay? And he knew, he said, and he has already commented that he knew that Marlena had left Journey there at the wells, and she had gone off on a binge or, with her boyfriend. And he did not know that Journey was taken to her grandmother's just a day or two before Summer got gone. Now, we heard about a party on 110 on the Saturday before Summer come up missing. We've heard about that. I heard that that Daniel has these two brothers, Chad and Brad. Kind of wonder if they're twins, but I couldn't find that connection. But it was the two brothers, Chad and Brad. They were at that party on the Wells property. It's what the word is. So I'm just putting that out there, guys. Now, Bradley Hayes, Brad, was the neighbor's tattoo artist. And the tattoo artist happened to be a RSO. And he had just got some more charges. And he was going back in the pen. And that's when the neighbor had to hurry up and get her tattoo from him before he left to go get locked up. Now, one of the charges was where he was tattooing a child. And basically, he was branding her. He was branding her. Now, isn't that some sick stuff? Oh, a child. These people are disgusting out there. We did learn this a long time ago. It got talked about a little bit, but I think it should be brought back up because it's very, very interesting. So talk about the neighbor. You know, there's a lot to talk about with her, but let's talk about 162 Fields Road. On 162 Fields Road, that's where Jody Sue and Andy Bernard used to live before they got to 125. And on that property is an old cabin and a barn. Well, that property was going to be searched. And the day that property was going to be searched was the day Jody Sue Brown did not go to her radiology appointment to get her cancer treatment. She stayed there because they were searching that property. And of course, it was their fault for her missing her cancer treatment. But it makes you wonder what the heck was so important. What was she worried about them finding? Why wouldn't she go to her appointment if she didn't have anything to do with it or know anything would be on that property? So I always found that very, very interesting. On Dolly's Live about a year ago, now this part, guys, I'm a little iffy on it, but there was somebody on his panel that called in and they said they were Candace's cousin and said Philip took Summer by mistake. It was supposed to be Journey. She was the target. So I'm not sure who Philip is. I don't know if Philip is the cousin or if the person calling in was a cousin. I was very confused, and Dolly has a lot of videos and I couldn't find it. I was trying to find it so I could get it cleared up, but I didn't get to find it. So here we know there was talk of, maybe Daniel having little Journey taken, and then Summer was the one that was there, so they took her. And then here we got somebody calling into Dolly's Live saying, she was taken, but she wasn't the target. It was Journey. So Jody Sue on her live back in August the 29th of 2023, she was listening to PG. She makes a comment that says, same pattern, same stuff. It was all a setup. I wonder what the setup was. But she might be confused, or because she missed some of her radiology appointments, it might have thrown her off, because today her live title, it mentioned the setup of Andy was Summer's case. So she's still on the setup, I guess. Still throwing those words around. But it's kind of funny how those words still relate. And it all goes back to Summer, doesn't it? And then on April 24th of 2023, she says, now this is a neighbor, I ain't a dumb bitch. I think whoever did what on June 15th is out here watching. I mean, how does she know he's watching? How does she know she's watching? You know, either this woman knows something and she's trying to send signals and secret codes to these people out there, or she's guessing and guessing and guessing and trying to insert herself and make her somebody. But either way, it's sick. It's sick. All on a little girl's name. Let's cloud everything with your mumbo jumbo. And today you're talking about everybody trying to connect Andy to Summer's case, and he was your abuser. He was your monster, Jody Sue. People who are abused do not take up for their abuser years after they have broke free. Or is there something there that holds y'all together, that ties y'all together real nice and snug, where you feel like you need to take up for him so that maybe he doesn't get in trouble for something, I don't know, maybe something your son did, maybe your daughter, maybe you. I don't know, Jody Sue. Just thinking out loud. Don said that he went looking for Summer, but he was afraid to go down that street, that dirt road, which happened to be the road that led to the first set of footprints that were supposedly found. So why would Don not want to go down that road? Why is it that he can say these things and it just go by the wayside? Why is nobody questioning him about that road? Why is nobody talking about that road? That road that supposedly has led up to this baby's footprint. If that was her footprint, why did her own father not want to go down that dirt road? But his baby girl could go down that dirt road, be drugged down that dirt road, hauled down that dirt road, whatever it is. But he ain't man enough to go down that dirt road to look himself. That's how bad this case is, guys. That is how horrible this case is. Mimi Jean, I don't know if they were planted, fake, false. I don't know. It's horrible. Guys, these are just a few of the pieces of little tidbits here and there that's happened. We've had Grandis's friend show text messages. And those text messages said a whole different story than what Grandis told us, than what Candace told us. But nobody stood up and said, hey, she's wrong. That's fake. That's not real. Nope, didn't say that. Just ignored it. So, are we supposed to believe what Ziggy Valero put out there and showed on text messages? Because that's a whole different story. That puts Summer being sick and Candace taking her to Dawn to get her to the doctor. If it wasn't true, wouldn't you think they would say, no, nothing was wrong with her. She wasn't sick. But here we go with more of the crap that fills this case. So, did law enforcement ever look into that? Did they question the parents about that? Did they question Grandma about that? I don't know, but it's hard to believe they did. Because, we saw the picture when they brought the mom, Candace, a bottle of whiskey. A bottle of whiskey at the very beginning when they had just found out her daughter was gone. They're going to bring her a bottle of whiskey. Guys, this day, June 15th, 2021, was a picture perfect day. It was a day that was beautiful outside. Just comfortable. I mean, heck, I live here in the South. It gets up into 100 degrees up in June. We're sweating up here. You got to stay inside just to stay cooled off and rehydrated. And yet here they are up in the mountains. Nice, beautiful weather. Perfect weather. Didn't get too cool at night. Just enough to make you comfortable. What a beautiful day Summer had. Playing in the horse pond. Watching TikTok videos. Riding with her mom and her grandma and her little friend Hunter over here. Picture perfect day for this 5-year-old little girl. And yet, Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson, his team, TBI, Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, y'all have let her down. Y'all have so let her down. And I will continue to call them out every time because just these little odds and end pieces here could have put something together. These pieces that we just talked about, all these little odds and ends, they could have fit the missing pieces of this puzzle. But they would have had to been looked into. They would have had to been talked about. They would have had to been verified. There would have had to been actual work done. But just like the yellow car that drove past, speeding, going out of there. Passed by an officer looking for a little missing girl. And you're going to let a car speed by you, hauling ass the opposite direction, and not think nothing of it. I heard today, guys, and I haven't had time to verify it. It's been kind of a little crazy this evening, but I do want to find out. I've heard Summer's case is no longer active. You know, I guess it gets kind of stale over time when nothing's being done. And that's what we've got here. Her case has become stagnant, just sitting there. Whatever law enforcement is doing is just nothing's happening. Nothing. And guys, I know people don't like it when you compare Summer and Sebastian's cases, but by golly, I have never seen a case where there's a child come up missing that the parents aren't taken down to the police department, questioned, when there's no evidence of anything. Nothing. No evidence that she wandered off. No evidence that she was taken off. Nothing. And yet, in these two cases, the parents don't get grilled. And I mean grilled. And to this day, I still think they need to. All of them. But I don't think that TBI is doing a job that they should be proud of on either case. And I don't think Hawkins County wants to let go of anything that they have or know, because it might come back to one of them or two of them or possibly all of them. And that's like in little Sebastian's case. Why would Chris want to get two of the officers to talk with Seth and the PI? I'm going to do what law enforcement does. Well, yeah. That's because they're your buddies. That's because they're telling you what to do and what to say. Did they bring you, Chris, a bottle of whiskey like they brought Candace? I've wondered that. Just seems like there's a whole lot of covering up going on in both of these child's cases. And it is horrible. It's disgusting. I get so flustered when I start sitting here and putting all these notes together, all of these, just pages and pages and pages of notes. From top to bottom, notes. I try to keep up with everything. If I think I might need it someday, it's written down because I want to be able to have something to go back to. And every time with Summer's case that I go back through this, through all the other ones that I have, it's unbelievable. No, thank you, One Love. You're so precious. Thank you. But it's unbelievable how much is there. I mean, guys, we have talked about the man that got to search on horseback weeks after getting out of jail for doing things to children. He was allowed to go search in the woods for summer. I mean, oh my gosh, I'm a grown woman, and I would not want to run into that man in the woods. That I would have to probably pull my gun on him. I really would, probably. We're talking about the sheriff's son himself, who did things to two teenage girls, and one was his adopted daughter. And his daddy just helped it all smooth over. Everything's going to be okay. We're talking about people that are not good people. People who have a bad past. And I don't hold people's past against them when they try to do good. I don't hold people's past against them when they made efforts and steps to move forward in life and leave that life behind. But there's not a whole lot of that happening with all these people we continue to talk about. But in every instance that we've talked about these people, there's a connection back that could put them in this case. They could be connected back to Little Summer in some way. But it's all hush. It's all mute. Nobody's going to talk. Nobody's going to say a word. And so Little Summer is still lost because of the POSs that live around her. The people that could probably help her. They could help bring her back home. Oh, sorry, guys. I'm fixing to cut my hair. But there's people that could help. They could help find her. They could help say something. But they don't. Because they don't owe a little 5-year-old girl anything. They owe their loyalty to the other POS that they know. And the other POS that they used to hang out with. And all the POSs that they went to school with. Used to ride around and do drugs with. Drink with. All that stuff. They owe those people. And for a place that has so many RSOs around that area, there's a problem, people. There is a big problem. And I don't care how you weave it around, how you throw it out there, how you present it. You can talk about it all sweet and fluffy, but it's still disgusting. Every child within reach is in danger in that area. My daughter was talking to me one day. She said, I've seen some of the pictures that where you've been looking for that little girl of that area. She said, it's so pretty. I'd love to, we're thinking about going towards that way. Maybe we could ride around up there. And I was like, don't you dare. Do not take my grandbabies there. Don't take them there. Because if something was to happen, we'd never see them again because TBI doesn't do anything to help. They sure as heck don't interrogate people that are the last people with this child. We've seen their track record. Don't take them. That's what I told her. Instead of saying it's a beautiful place. It's gorgeous. It's a place that we don't get to see. We have hills here. We don't have mountains here. So yeah, beautiful. Beautiful place. But bad things lurk in dark places. And I've always seen movies when I was a little girl growing up, and you see these hillbillies that are living out in the mountains and the woods, and, kind of like Deliverance, those kind of things. For me, I thought that was just in the movies. Just thought it was all in the movies. Because it couldn't be like that. No way. But it really is. That's the sad part. There are places that are really like that. I brought up the church where Ricky Crawford Sr. went. Kind of wonder if it's like one of them snake churches. Just a little bitty creepy looking building. And I've never in my life said a church would look creepy. That is never words that I would have ever used. Never thought I would ever use. To me, a church is sacred. It's beautiful, and it doesn't matter what it looks like. Doesn't matter if it's just barn wood or if it's painted up or if it's all brick. But just watching a video as they pull up to this place, not realizing that's the church, I had creeps right away before ever realizing it was a church. And it's a church nobody really talks about. Try to Google it sometime. I couldn't find it. It wasn't on the map. There was all kinds of churches around there, but not that one. And maybe it's just an old little church that just the elders go to, maybe. Maybe the uppers. Is that it? Is that their meeting place? They go to church. You never know. I'm just calling things out, guys. Thoughts that I've had, things I've read, things I'm hearing other people saying. I can only piece them together. I can only think about them so long before your brain just wants to scream for relief, because 2.5 years of going over all this crap, it's getting a little insanity to it. But by God, I will not let the POSs, I use that word plural, and I will not let them get away with what has happened to Summer. Because I've worked on her case for a long time, guys. You all have too, most of you. Y'all been following since day one. There's lots of other people that had to start talking about other things because there's nothing else left. The name of the church is on Grady Light Road. I believe it is Light Holler Road. And it is called the House of Prayer Church. And it is at the end of a dead-end road. And it's probably big enough for maybe 20 people, maybe. But I'm getting really discouraged because, I watched Sebastian's case a lot, and I thought, I'm not going to get into this one as well. I'm just going to follow it with everybody else. And There's so many little things that are so very similar. So many little things. And it's the little things that start adding up. And why in the heck wouldn't these parents be questioning? I mean, somebody needs to question them. They need to be sat down. They need to be drilled because somebody knows something. Hey, Judy, welcome to our craziness. Thank you. Thank you for being here. But y'all, I don't know. I'm from Texas. And they don't play around here. I watched a mother have a heart attack because they actually thought her child was murdered by her. Try not to cry over that because it was very hard. She was very well known around here. She was never the same after that. But they didn't let up on her because the child just vanished. Well, come to find out, there was an uncle that wasn't around very often who had stopped by while the mother was out in the outside laundry room and took off with the child. But that's how they do it here. That's how I've seen. That's what I've grown up with. If there is nothing that leads to somebody else doing it, the last person with them, which in both of these cases would be the mother, they should be questioned. They both know something. I'm not saying they did something. I'm saying they know something. And even if it was them not paying attention to the child, possibly out in the outside laundry room or doing laundry or maybe going to the store, maybe on the phone, and not paying attention to the child, and something happened, then I feel for you because you as a mother will be the one to live with that the rest of your life. And all the hiding and all the running that you can do will never take away any of that. Because you had a chance to get your child back, whether it was your child's alive or gone. That child should have a final place to rest in peace. And although that child's really not going to be there if they're gone, having that place to go and sit and just talk to your child is, in a weird kind of way, very comforting sometimes. I know I've stayed at my son's graveside for hours. I would play his music. I would talk to him about what his friends are doing and what his nieces and his nephews doing these days. And I would find comfort doing that because that's as close to him as I could really be right there. So if these parents did do something or have anything to do with their child not being around, oh, thank you. Sorry, guys. But if they're not doing anything, to help get their child to that child's final resting place. And God help you, because you will be the ones that have to live with it the rest of your life. I would give anything to say, hey, I made a huge mistake. I wasn't paying attention. I wished I could say that and get my son back. But it don't work that way for me. But these parents, instead of playing games, instead of getting high, instead of getting on YouTube and yelling and being stupid, getting on there and treating people like they're dirt. It's uncalled for. It's uncalled for. And why aren't the cops doing anything about it? Why is, the investigators not questioning this? That's not right behavior. It's not the way a parent should act. And guys, trust me, I know there is no handbook that tells you how you're supposed to act and how you're supposed to feel. And everybody's different. I get that. But to be Candace calling her sister-in-law and, crying on the phone, oh, they took him, they're beating him up, and da-da-da, and Donnie's gone. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. And to sit here and be Chris, the one that's in charge of this whole thing, in my opinion, I honestly believe he's like the neighbor trying to run the narrative. And he actually challenges us to prove him wrong. Come on, TBI. He's challenging you. Why aren't y'all doing anything about it? Because here's two children from the same state, and nothing's happening. And I know it takes time. I get that. But when you have parents that can do what's being done here with Sebastian's case, just like what happened in Summers, and nothing gets done about it, that's not okay. It's not okay. But most other places don't bring a bottle of whiskey to the parent that just lost a child. It's getting old. It's getting frustrating. It is so emotional for a lot of people. You see, we don't sit here and just ramble and talk all the time just because we like to talk. I mean, heck, I'd rather be talking about something else, I'll be painting my fingernails, telling y'all about my colors and new mascara I got, or, hey, lots of stuff to talk about. But we talk about these children because we want to do whatever we can to help. And it seems like with all of this and all the other ones I've got over here, that we're coming out with more things than what TBI, even Hawkins County, Hendersonville, any of them act like they even possibly have. And it's getting very sad. It's not a good look for them. And I pray that little Sebastian's case does not take as long as Summer's. And I know there are kids that are still missing, still not found. I get that. But when you are in an area where everybody's so closely connected, but they're not connected because they don't know no one. It doesn't matter if they're family. They don't know them. 3 years is too long. Too long. But maybe that's what you're wanting. Maybe y'all are wanting us to all just shut up and go away. Maybe that's what Ronnie Lawson is waiting for. Because if he was any kind of man, he would have already figured out, hey, I can't do this. We're not getting anywhere. We need help. But that's not happening, is it, Ronnie? It's not. It's not happening for Sebastian either because, yeah, you know, Chris's family, they're all connected into that police department. And Chris wants to say that it has nothing to do with Sebastian missing when we talk about things that have happened. Yeah, it does. It does. Because those things that happened with your little girl when you had to give her back happened at a police station and they wouldn't let that mother in. And y'all were sitting there laughing. Because those were all your buddies. So yeah, little different stories, but the same outcome. And no, Chris, Sebastian didn't just vanish off of your front porch. Because I'm pretty sure God has not came back and pulled us all back up into heaven with him. You know, those of us who do believe in God. That has not happened yet. But when it does, I hope you like where you're living and walking. Because I don't see anything coming, protruding through you that tells me you'll be lifted up into heaven. I just pray Sebastian somewhere where he's safe and away from them. And I call out the mother as well. I call out Dawn and Candace. Dawn makes the comments that he will see his child in the resurrection. That's just not something a parent would say. I say, I'll see him one day. I will. I'll see him one day. And I know I will. But I don't say, I'll see him in the resurrection. Just one day. I don't tell my friends that I had to sacrifice my son for my sins. You see, God took care of my sins. He forgave me of my sins. He took care of it. No sacrifice needed. None. So if Dawn was under that impression Maybe his church friends need to relook at their lives as well. Because that's not how it goes. You see, there's this thing called right and wrong. And I don't care what religion you are. I don't care what denomination, what color church you go to. Do you go to a brick church? Do you go to a wooden church? Do you go to a metal tower church? It doesn't matter. And it really doesn't matter if you don't go to church. The only thing that matters is your relationship with God. No one else is involved with saving your life. There's no sacrifice to be made other than putting all the bad that you've done in your life away. That's it. God can do that. And I'm not trying to take y'all to church, people, sorry, but there is not a sacrifice needed. And for Don to sit there and say to his friends that he sacrificed his daughter for his sins. If he honestly believes that, I feel bad for him. My heart hurts for him because he is not in a good place. He will not end up in a good place. And it's those parents that we're talking about now. These 4 parents, or 5, they each have their struggle. They each have a past. They each have a not so perfect life. And I'm not going to judge anybody for their past because, heck, I've got a past I don't want y'all to know about. No, I'm just joking. But I don't want to dwell on past. But I do want to dwell on the fact that there are those parents in these 2 cases that feel like they're the victims and not the child. That they're actually getting lots of attention because of the child. And yet, we are the tragedy pimps using your child's name on a live and talking about your child on a live. And yes, I do have memberships. It helps me to pay for the things that I do on here. It helps me pay for the programs that I got so that I can create things. It helps me pay for little things like that. I'm not sorry for it. And I'm not sorry for talking about your child because, you see, if it wasn't for all of us, there's not a whole lot of people that would know about your child. And for that, you're welcome. But if that's a hindrance to you, then you got some talking you need to do. And it needs to be with God. And it needs to be with the law enforcement. Because we're not going to stop We're not going to keep bringing out these things that, as Mr. Chris likes to say, how does that help find Sebastian? Well, Mr. Chris, come over here and ask me that, because I got your questions. Dawn, Candace, come talk to me. I'm not scared. And I don't give a crap what your past was. Any of y'all. I don't care about that. I'm not here to find out what kind of person you used to be. I don't give a flip about it. I just want to know where your child's at. Because I have 4 grandbabies that are around the age of what Summer is. And I get to do things with them. I get to enjoy watching them grow. They are my life. And if one of them was to go missing and poof, disappear, I would hope somebody would keep their face and their name out there. I would hope that somebody would talk about all the bad, all the good, and keep it going until someday somebody says, oh my gosh, I saw that kid. Oh my goodness, I need to call the cops. You may be right, Titan. They don't know what family and love is. And it is a horrible thing to think of, life without that. My kids have always been my number one, my greatest accomplishment. I have regrets in some of the ways that I could have done better for them while I was raising them or something. You know, I always, like the other day, I made a wreath, a door wreath for the new little baby coming, my best friend's daughter-in-law's having. And we sat here and made this door wreath for the hospital. And I kept saying, are you sure? Do we need to do? And she kept saying, you are your worst critic and you always have been. Stop. And I kind of thought about that night. It kind of bothered me that she said that, but she's right. I've always been my worst critic. I always felt I could do better. I always felt like maybe if I would have done this or been there or did or said this, maybe my kid would have not got in trouble at school, or I don't know, so many things. But the one thing my kids and my grandkids can never say is, I'm not sure my mom or my Lolly love me. Never would a day go by that I would allow that to happen. And here's little Summer. Does she think that? Does she wonder that? Maybe Sebastian did. You know, J for Justice, y'all go watch her live that she did with the video. Outlines it. Shows you step by step on it. You see a hand going up and down as if they're giving one heck of a spanking. You see the foot stick out. You can see the ponytail of the mom as she moves her head. If that is what that little boy has had to live with, then I know he's questioned it. I know he's questioned, why does my mom love Mr. Chris more than me? And that's sad. That's sad that I would even want to say that. But that's kind of where I'm at with that. And that only happened when I saw that video this morning. I watched it. And to see the shadow movements, and then this child disappears from there. Lord have mercy, what else can we think? Yes, One Love. You can absolutely see the ponytail. Yep, it is crazy. Y'all go watch it. It absolutely made me tear up. I had tears. I couldn't even think for a few minutes because, yeah, it's like the hairs in a bun. Yeah, I mean, you see it and you see a hand going down, back up. You can see it. It's unreal. So, guys, Selena, it is who put it out there? Was that Sin? Did you put that out? Yeah, Sin just put it out. Straight for Justice. She did a video, and it has it's the flashlight video actually that we all talked about for a while, looked at and studied. But on the top portion of it is this little white piece. And they always said, don't pay attention to the little white part up there. Well, that's the part that was important. And somebody blew it up to where you can't see details, but go watch. You'll be amazed what you do see. Oh, Bailey, it was an eye opener for me, for sure. And I mean, whoever did that and got that pulled up enough, they even went as far as figuring out which house it would have been at to shoot that direction or something. And it's the same video. So while we're looking at these two little flashlight dots that we thought, all this whole movement's going on up there. And if it's what it seems to be, guys, it'll make you sick. Yeah, don't focus on the wide area. She'll tell you, not the wide area, but there's the dark shadowy areas. Watch that. And she will outline it. She does an amazing job with that. But I was very surprised. And it just, oh, Millie, thank you so much. You're so sweet. Guys, if y'all got that membership, make sure you tell my Millie how much we love her, because I love her so big. She is so precious. Thank you. But I don't know where we go from here, guys, with Summer's case. We've gone over so much of it. I keep going back and listening to different people's um, lives and stuff that they've done from the beginning, because everybody has their opinion. And even Smiley sent me a message. Well, she addressed it because she got the same thing. And, it was a message somebody sending out about Candace was seen that day driving Fred Hill's dad's truck. And it's like, good golly. And that kind of got squished because Fred Hill's dad's truck, the transmission went out a year before. So it wasn't even drivable. So, yeah. I don't know. I'm going to keep digging, keep looking. We're going to talk. I think I'm going to do a little bit of Sebastian because after seeing that, I want to push it. I want to push it too. And it's just aggravating. It's bad enough when a stranger takes a child. It's bad enough when something is done to a child that's not their family. But these two little kids have their family that was right there with them. And they're gone. So we'll keep poking some bears, guys. Yeah, Titan, we're going to keep poking some bears. But I do love you guys so, so much. And I thank y'all so much for being here. Keep just talking about them. Keep putting their face out there. Because we're not done yet. You know, it's not the end of Summer's case. And if it's not active, well, that's just on their end. And I'm seriously in the process of writing an editorial to all the papers around that area about how disappointed I am with the work that's been done on Summer's case. There's other children that are missing there too. You know, do they have hope? And then 3 years later, their hope just kind of starts squandering off. Is it all intentional? Is it not? So many questions. And all we can do is just put it out there, guys. We can talk about it, discuss it, put it out there. And I'm telling y'all got my whole heart. I'm just going to tell you how I feel. And I'm just going to put it out there. And this is pretty much all the little pieces. Quiet protest. I wish I could make it June 15th. Gosh, I wish I could make it. Because I'd lead that march proudly. Very proudly. And then on the 16th, we could go on down a little further and do another march. But, guys, y'all are so great. And I am so grateful to have y'all in here. Y'all been really great to me, and I appreciate it so much. Just a little side note. Thursday night, me and Annabella are on What the Fuss. And we will have Jinkies, rumor has it. She will be there with us. We're not going to do true crime stuff. We're just going to talk and chat, and whatever happens and comes up, comes up. So it'll be just a little break from so much of the emotional side of all the cases. So y'all come join us on What the Fuss Thursday night. I think we're going to do it about 6:30. So Jinkies is going to be there. It should be lots of laughter, lots of fun. And when we get together, you never know what the fuss is going to be. So, anyways, guys, I am going to start getting out of here. Let y'all get back to your night. Everybody have good dreams tonight, sweet dreams. Say prayers for both of these babies because they need us. They really do. And they will be found someday. And we can all feel good because we've made our effort. And we're not stopping yet. So with that, I'm just going to say, mwah, love and hugs, everybody.